Hey guys, this is Hell Hades. This is a Raid Shadow Legends video. And yes, we have got a special guest on today. We have got Ash. How you doing, man?
What's up, man? I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I'm here on the channel. I'm going to talk some Legendaries. I'm ready to go, man. How are you
absolutely. I've had commenters on my channel. They were saying, when is Ash coming back on? We love it when you guys get back together. So I was like, dude, we need to do this.
Well, I love it too, man. Let's do it more often. Let's do it more often.
What do you mean by that?
So what we're going to do today, guys, we're going to look at all of the different factions and basically one by one, faction by faction, we're going to call out legendaries that need a buff. Plarium, give these legendaries some work.
I love it. I love it, man. I love it. I mean, they buffed a few more champions recently, but there's still a few to go, right?
Yeah, it feels that way. Like, you know, when you pull that legendary champion and you're like, what have I got? And you're super excited, and then sometimes one pops out and you're like, damn. It's not helping my account a lot.
Be real with me, Hades. Have you ever pulled a legendary and not known that the champion even existed?
I don't know if I've done that. I'm not sure if I've done that. I definitely had some which are like forgotten. You know, it's
you
like,
know what I did? I pulled Nogdar the Headhunter like the day after he was released or whatever, and it was a quiet release. I don't know why, or maybe I just wasn't paying attention. But I'm like, wait, who's Nogdar the Headhunter? You know, a fun champion. But still, that was the one time that happened to me. So yeah, there's a few out there. So yeah, excited to be on, man.
So I think what we do, let's just kick straight into Bannerlords. We're gonna go one by one. So I guess you kick us off with Bannerlords, Ash, and let us know which of these champions do you feel should, you know, most likely needs a buff.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna go with. There's a couple candidates here, but I'm gonna go with Black Knight, Hades. First of all, Black Knight is cool and unique in that he's one of the only champions, only a few of them, Iron Brago, that have the increased defense on a 2-turn cooldown, or like, you know, lasting as long as the cooldown is, which is nice. But his A3 makes no sense, and this champion could be a really good champion. He's not an awful champion, but I want to see them fix his A3. Why does this guy have an attack-based ability in his kit anyway? Doesn't really make any sense. Doesn't fit the rest of his kit to me. I would like to see that A3 totally reworked, and you know, he's not putting on a ton of damage. At least make it HP based at the very least.
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even better, make it just make more sense to his kit. You know, make it a support ability instead, and kind of make it a total rework.
I actually didn't realize when you were saying it. I was thinking, okay, this kind of feels okay with his passive. I didn't realize that this was an attack-based ability.
Yeah, it does decrease according to the amount of the HP the champion has lost, but still doesn't really help anything, you know? Like, ideally, he's going to be full HP, you know? So it doesn't... He does have a provoke on his A1, which I guess makes a little bit of sense with that, but still, it just, in practicality, it doesn't work for me, you know?
Yeah, and we don't see him playing anywhere. That's the main thing. Like, maybe a bit of Magma Dragon, but... No, totally agree. If I was to pick one out, I won't go into detail, but I probably would pick out, I think, Minaya. She's a decent healer, but I just can't really see where she has a play style, where she has a kind of place in the game to really kind of thrive in Raid. And I like for champions to have like a specific area where they can just be top notch, you know, like come in there and do some work. And for me, Minaya, unless you pair her with Coronar, just feels pretty weak.
I agree with you there too. You know, she's been kind of staring at me in the life tokens area, and I have a few saved up, but I'm like, I don't have her. She's the only one that I actually don't have, and I've been kind of hesitating on buying her for the same reason that you point out. Like, where exactly am I going to be using her? You know, so I agree. I mean, still a solid champion overall, but I agree. Like a little bit something missing there, maybe on the A3 or something. I don't know. Maybe a cleanse or something. I don't know.
Okay, let's move on. So I'm going to jump into the high elves. Let's pick one out. I've got an easy one. I literally just pulled this champion. Well, I tell you, it could be one or two, honestly, but I've got to go with Pixneal. Like,
that was the easy one.
Yeah, and I was thinking of the guy to her right, but Pixneal, ever since release, has just been like a terrible champion design in terms of a kit. She looks awesome. She looks freaking like insane, but there's just nowhere in the game that a kit makes any sense whatsoever. I feel like she needs almost like a complete rework. You know, the A3 being this kind of hits at random, percentage chance to freeze. Like, it should just be 100% AoE freeze. Look at other legendary champions. They just do this so much better.
Yeah, man. Like, give me Shiramani all day or Pixneal, you know?
Yeah. But plus others, you know, there's kind of epics that are doing the job better.
For such a cool looking champion, I agree with you, man. Like, aesthetically, she is very pleasing, but Yeah, dude, like, why can't it just be an AoE freeze on the A3? Or they had that buff. What do you think of that buff that they gave her? It was like, I barely noticed anything. I play tested her
Oh,
afterwards. I'm like, wait a second. They changed, what, a couple percentages on the passive? I don't
yeah.
even know what they're trying to make this champion do, you know?
Basically a pointless buff.
Yeah.
And I feel like they've done that a few times. A lot of the champions which are in this list for me
Yeah.
have been buffed. They've been buffed already, and it's like you're not buffing the right. You're not changing the kit. You're just like changing the percentage of touch. That's not going to do it. That's not what we need.
Yep,
We need actually an overwork. You know, we need to look at some more. I get some more enticing buffs and debuffs based on the way the game has gone, based on the content we're now facing, and this just doesn't do it.
I agree, and they just buffed Basilius Rowanus in the same, high elf faction, and I think they did a good job with him. You know, he's not certainly it wasn't a massive buff, but they gave him damage multiplier increases, gave him an AOE 100% stun. So now like him and Astralon are like the stun masters in terms of having a 100% chance of landing. So I think they did it right with that champion like that. They don't have to overdo it, but don't give us 2% more of whatever, and it's the same old champion, same old crappy champion at the end of the day.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, if you had to kind of call one out here yourself, is there anyone that springs to mind?
I would have gone as well with Pixneal, but I don't know. I think he's really the only one here deserving of a buff. Even Alexander, I feel like he's not bad for people who were lucky enough to like pull him when they were just starting out, as the end game, but
what?
Yeah.
Overall, I don't really have a big issue with any of these other champions. Do you?
Yeah, only Alexander. I would just say I wish he had a fun passive. Like if he had a fun passive in his kit, which a lot of champions have now got, then we see passives on rares and epics that are joining the game, which would be awesome on him. Just like a passive like we see. I can't remember the champion's name, but she comes in, it's the new dwarf, and she's got like a increased attack and increased crit damage on her at the start of a round if she doesn't have more than 2 buffs. And it's like, give this guy that same sort of passive, and all of a sudden he's more interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Okay, let's move on. Sacred Order. Your pick, man.
Yeah, Sacred Order. I'm going to go with, so first off, I think that Holstring, the new champion there, I think he's kind of meh, to say the least. But I want to go with Arrow because...
I would have picked Arrow, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I think he's like the old school legacy single target nuker to have on your team, but I do feel like he's been power crept a bit. I mean, he's basically faceless with a little bit extra damage,
Yeah.
And I'm just not excited about him. I want to see now when they have single target, damage dealers come out in the game, they're bringing something a little bit more to the table, and that's kind of what I want to see from this champion. So I don't know. I mean, there's so many different directions they could go with him in terms of how to buff him, but I think he needs a buff. That's the clear thing that I'm bringing to the table here.
He doesn't bring any debuffs, does he? So he's literally just a powerhouse, but it's all single target, like you say. He's a nice selfish champion in raid. He's like, I'm just all out for myself. I'm a one-on-one beast. Fight me one-on-one. He's like that. One-on-one, take me on, and he's going to win. But there's not a single fight like that in the game.
Yeah, steals all buffs from target enemy on his A3, then attacks the target. Maybe you give him that Garaman or Garaman, whatever his name is. Maybe give him the buff spread after he steals the buff. Make it a little interesting, But I don't know. But yeah, Arrow is my guy.
Yeah, I absolutely would have gone with the same champ, actually. And honestly, Holstring would have been the other one that I would have called out, as in he's kind of come into the game, and I feel like he's just maybe a bit of finite in him, but pretty much a weak champion to have come in. So
yeah, I agree. Constantine too, just as a call out, man. I was lucky enough or unlucky enough to pull him, and I'm like, okay, cool, let's build him.
I got him recently as well, and people are calling me out saying you're wrong. This guy is a beast. So I've not play tested him since then, but I feel like unless you run him with Vlad,
holder, Hades, right? It all depends on like who you have and where you are in the game, and so. But Constantine, he can do one thing: he can deal like a decent amount of damage. But Void Legendary status, especially a brand new Void Legendary, I'm looking for a little bit more, But anyway, that's
okay. Cool.
Okay, Barbarians.
Barbs. Let's do Barbs. So look, so my pick. I mean, I've got to call out the fragment collector of old Rorik.
Okay, I thought. Okay.
Now, I fused him and got him on my free to play last year, and he's got a decent A2. Yeah, it doesn't need. It doesn't really need any more. You don't really need to book him out to get a decent chance to land a stun and turn me to depletion. All of that's nice. Other than that, I feel like he's trash. Like honestly, he doesn't hit hard enough. He's got this A3, which when you look at it, like ignoring defense, this feels like it could be good. Doesn't hit hard enough, and if he had a bit more damage in his kit, then I think he actually could be pretty damn fun. But really, everything about his kit rotates around getting back to his A2 again and again, stun locking out the enemy. I mean, I just would never pick him over, a Scylla the Drakes or even some of the epic champions that can stun but have got a bit more in their kit, like a Husk. There's just no way that this guy's coming along. So I can't imagine really leveling this guy up beyond 50 and kind of being excited to pull him as a legendary champion.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned Constantine and a few of your viewers pushing back on him. I had the same thing with Rorik. Like, I made the same comment that he's kind of trash of champion. Like AoE stun now, only if you deplete the target's turn meter and you're only doing damage to one enemy with crappy multipliers. I couldn't agree with you more. He would be my choice as well. I think that he's underwhelming, man.
Yeah.
There you go. I think my choice probably would have been, well, it would have been Rorik, but otherwise it would be Jarl the Scar.
Jarl, yeah. Yeah. Again, it's that Void legendary thing, isn't it?
Yeah. Void should be a little bit more special, man, obviously, and he's just not. He's just kind of like Constantine in my eyes. He's a different champion, much different, but he's like kind of cool, but he doesn't really fit any need on any team that I've seen yet,
No. And again, he looks freaking sweet as
he
well.
Does.
You can imagine pulling this guy and you're like that. You're new to the game, you pull yourself a Jarl and you're like,
yes,
look at this guy.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
Best champion in the game. And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like, where do I use him? Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. What do you think, just out of curiosity, what did you think of Operdin Clanfather, the last fragment summon?
Yeah, so look, I think he's a little bit underwhelming. He's a damn good healer.
He is.
Actually. He's a really good healer, and he can do some stuff in the game. My original review of him was pretty damning, and after play testing with him a bit, I was actually like, you know what, he's better than I thought.
Yeah.
But still on the lower end of legendaries for me.
Yeah, I was kind of had a similar experience. I was actually recording my video guide on him, and I was like, okay, so let's see how much this guy can heal for. And then he healed for 2 minutes, way more than anybody else on the team. Yeah. And was really impressive. I'm like, wow, he could definitely carry in terms of support in the mid game better than I thought he would. So
yeah, and there's definitely more content now where healing is important. Hydra, without healing in Hydra and high end Doom Tower, pretty much you're going to be dying. So he does have a bit of a use, but yeah, certainly not special.
I agree. All right.
Okay, let's go for the Ogres. Ogre and Tribes.
Yeah, this is a tough one. Everybody will go War Mother, but I don't hate War Mother as much as most people do, If Bombs ever become decent in any way, she'll be great.
They are trying. They are trying to make Bombs decent.
And even if they don't become decent, she's like a really, really good damage dealer. Not in the end game, she's not meta by any stretch of the imagination. But maybe I don't think she's as trash as everybody else does, quite as bad. So I would go with, Gerda Bogbrew, the brand new champion, She's the free, or the quote-unquote free champion that we get now from the fragments and the daily login rewards. I would like her to be just a little bit more useful, enticing for a free champion. She's, to me, not much better than Cleopatrix, the the first legendary or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's so many different ways, again, that they could fix her or make her a little bit better. Even on the A3, which I think is her best ability, I think just make it a full cleanse,
full cleanse, 100%.
At the very least, and that's a good starting point, I guess that's what I'll say. Because then removing 2 debuffs at this point is oftentimes not enough, depending on the boss, Doom Tower, Nether Spider, whomever, even Hydra Clan boss. I think a full cleanse on a 3-turn cooldown, instant value, a lot of people could use her.
Yeah, I agree. And I definitely agree of her being the weakest. I think there's a few kind of average legendaries in here. Shamrock's had 2 buffs. I feel like he's still bang average as a legendary. Druckle, some people like, some people hate. I can't get on board with. There was no way when I pulled him, there was no way I could get him into my Faction War 21 team over just a whole bunch of epics. He just wasn't coming in. I thought, throw him in, it'll be cool. Maybe take Grush out. At the time, he was nowhere near Grush. It just didn't do the same job. So he feels pretty underwhelming as well to me.
Yeah. It's weird. You read his kit, you look at his base stats, and you think at least I do, I'm like, wait, he's not that bad,
Yeah.
But then to your point, in utility, when you're actually, using the champion, for whatever reason, just doesn't work out. You're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, he's not better than whatever my replacement value was. So,
Yeah, I know Jay Diggs likes him, but I can't get on board with it.
I don't hate him. I'm probably a little bit less bad, down on him than you are, but I'm not, not sitting here saying that he he needs a nerf or anything like that.
Right, let's go for the Lizards then. So,
Nah.
I mean, the Lizards are actually, I'd say, one of the strongest factions.
Yep.
Like generally, really strong
Yeah.
faction. But for me, again, it's actually one of the old fusion champions. I wonder which one you would go for, but I'm going for Verdum Carr,
Okay.
the sausage. I mean, come on. Give this guy some love.
Like, come on.
Give this fella some love.
Verdum Carr's another one of those champions, though. A lot of people love this guy. I don't even want to call him a guy. Is this thing? A lot of people love that guy, this lizard.
Yeah. But I
It's
think like
weird.
his A3, like remove one random buff from each enemy, remove 2 from each enemy if they're under a certain. It's like get rid of the this, if that. Just let him clean off buffs. You got someone like a Kai'Ma, it's like buff's gone, take a nap. By the way, I'm resetting everything. And this guy's like, well, can I take one of your buffs? It's just, come on. He's a legendary champion.
Yeah.
And Kai'Ma's not void. This guy's not void. Give them a similar type of ability, please.
Yeah. I would pick Verdum Carr as well. I'm just not blown away. He's not the worst champion out there, but to your point, I think he could use a little buff. And I guess my second choice would be, and again, I don't think this is a trash champion, but Roxum, to me, I would like to see him get a little buff because he's such a cool champion. I feel like that he could be made a little bit cooler if he was just maybe better multipliers or whatever. But I have a problems, again, a very conditional champion. It has to be under veils all the time. You can't. Conditional champions, it's tough, not because they necessarily suck, but you can't rely on them to fill a certain role on your team without having to, make sure that you always meet these conditions, which makes them more challenging,
Yeah, he almost needs something in his passive, like start of his turn, gets a veil.
Exactly. He's fixed. Yeah.
And then everything starts to make sense because he actually, I mean, he does more damage than any other champion that does this kind of decreased defense and weaken ability. He hits hard. But like you say, like you don't get half of his kit away until he's already 1 or 2 turns in. And then by that point, it's like, well, either the fight's already over and you've lost, or maybe you're lucky and you've won, or, his main part of his kit comes too late to benefit the rest of your team.
Exactly. It's kind of a little bit of a Thea the Tomb Angel. Again, different champion, but you have to set up. The setup is so long, compared to your average nuke or your average team, that unless it has to be a long battle to get the utility out of these champions. And right now, the only long battles, it seems like Roxum. I was so excited for Hydra Clan Boss Hades because it was like, okay, this is where he should shine. His perfect veils and debuff.
True.
Great. And it just didn't work. I mean, I tried him a few different teams, and he just wasn't doing better than, again, whoever he was replacing. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Roxum.
Okay, cool. All right, Skinwalkers then. So your pick, man.
Okay. You know what? I'm going to go with...
3 days later.
It's weird because I don't think he's necessarily the most in need of a buff here. I think the most in need is Cleopatrix or whatever, however you say her name, right? But just to make an already decent champion, like a real good champion, maybe take him from a B- to an A-, I think Hacker and Smash Lord's A3 should be reduced to a 3-turn when booked. And maybe tweaking the damage that he sacrificed, or I'm sorry, my bad, A2. Reducing to a 3-turn cooldown. I would like to see that cleanse on a 3-turn. It wouldn't make him OP or anything like that, but it would instantly put him in the conversation of a reliable cleanser that you want on your team,
Yeah. And could you imagine if like they did that and then instead of making him a stun A1, it was like a decreased attack A1, and then all of a sudden he kind of opens up. Can he be a clan boss champion? Can he give you a cleanse? He gives you a heal. He gives you a decreased attack. Just, I don't know, just opens up some options for him to do something a bit more useful. Like a stun A1, I feel like, unless they're definitely like an arena-centric champion, it doesn't do you a lot of good.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you say, like he's a half-decent champion, actually. Yeah, like a go second arena team, but yeah, he could just do with a bit more.
Yeah, you're right. Go second arena, solid. So if they wanted to move him more towards like an arena champion, heck, you could even boost his base stats a little bit, give him a little bit more speed. They've shown, they buffed like half a dozen champion speed recently. So you can make him a little bit more viable in that area. I think there's some different ways you can go, but I think he's a champion that's right there, already good, right there on the threshold that should have a little bit more utility than just faction wars or progression, which is mostly where I see him being used, you know?
Yeah, and it's not one of those ones like throw him a passive where it starts to complement his kit, and then I just feel like Raid is so cool
Yeah.
in terms of these passive abilities, which
Yeah.
makes you think about how you use them in the game. I really feel like when legendaries don't have one, it's like, oh, that's boring now. That's your niche point around giving these champions something cool to work with just falls straight out. And yeah, I feel like it's actually a bit of a letdown.
Yep. Totally agree.
I mean, one I would call out here, and it's actually not because he's a bad champion. I just feel like he needs one other thing in his kit is Norog.
Norog, yeah, such a simple kit, right?
It's actually a really fun, cool champion, and he's got quite a nice passive already. I just feel like he needs just something else, maybe a slightly different A1 or something. But yeah, he's so close to being awesome, but just kind of lacks something. And now that Hydra's around, block buffs is actually a decent ability on an AoE. It's already a decent ability in faction wars or arena. So he's so close to being decent, but he just sits on the sides, you know?
It's almost like that thick skin, especially as how the game has evolved since he's been added, that passive. It's almost like that second sentence there decreases the damage taken by all allies that are not under active buffs by 25%. I guess the point I'm trying to make is just give him a more damage mitigation because he's clearly like the tank of all tanks, or he's built to be.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly, yeah.
So,
Okay, man. All right, let's jump into the orcs.
That's all you, right?
Yeah, so, I mean, there's so many legendaries in this faction. I think, for me, it's got to be Tila. Tila's one of... And she's been buffed twice, by the way. She's still one of the worst legendaries in the game. And this is a clear example of what we'll do is we'll buff them, but we're just going to give them the same kit, but slightly different percentages. And it's like, no, that's not what we needed. You know, an A2 with a single target HP burn. How simple is it just to say...
You excited about that or what?
Just say AoE HP burn. Like, hits one target for damage, and then if it's a crit, everyone gets an HP burn. You know, something like that, where it's like, all of a sudden, Spider 21 to 25, she's in your team. She's in your team for a load of Doom Tower stuff. She's in your team for Hydra. And you're like, damn, with an AoE leech as well, that's pretty nice. And we've got a champion. But as it is right now, she's just not good enough. She's not good enough. Her damage isn't high enough. There's nothing about her which makes you think, yeah, we should build her out.
She's definitely one of the worst champions, the worst legendary champions in the game. Totally agree. Like, if there's one champion just off the top of my head I do not want to see coming out of a legendary shard pull, it's Tila Corvain, man.
Yeah, I'm so fortunate that my Tila is grayed out right now.
Congratulations, man. Congratulations. Yeah, you're right, man. I mean, look at an epic champ. Look at, like, Geomancer compared to this. You know, take away the names, and you're like, oh yeah, Geomancer, that's the legendary. This is the epic. You know, like, oh no, it's the other way around. Yeah. So that's, I mean, yeah, dude, that's definitely who I would go with as well. It's not even close.
Yeah. Okay. Let's move on. Demonspawn. This is actually a great faction. Great faction.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look here. Oh my gosh. Right. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm going to go with, this is a tough one. Maybe it's a little selfish, but I'm going to keep it really simple here, Hades. I want an Ithwi Blood Twin to just do a little bit more damage, man.
Yeah.
That's all I want.
I am on board with that. I'm so on board with that.
That's it. Like, he has 17 freaking 29 base attack, dude. And he has deny revival on all of his hits. How about he starts killing people, right?
Yeah. Literally, what is the point of throwing in this massive number for attack?
I know.
It makes the guy look like a fool. He walks into the bar and he's like, 1,700, no worries. And now we're like, yeah, but dude.
Biggest muscles ever entering into the arm wrestling contest. And he's like, whoa.
Yeah. You know? He doesn't do anything. Yeah.
I pulled him pretty early on. I think it was my first Void Legendary pull. And this is in the very beginning of me playing, you know, over 2 years ago. And I got fooled by it. I was like, whoa, 1729 denies all revivals. This guy's got to be a monster. And his A2 hits decently hard. And sure, if you have God tier gear, sure, you can put him in it and he'll be all right in the arena. Still give me Foley any day over him personally. But anyway, yeah, in Ithwi Blood Twin, just up the multipliers, man. That's not
literally all he needs. Just literally give him an extra tweak on his multipliers. And this guy all of a sudden looks cool. He'll start doing something. Yeah.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, there's nobody else that I could have even called out. And if you'd said Kaimar, then I think it would have ended the chat right there.
Actually, some of my favorite champions are. I love. Apropos of absolutely nothing, I love Countess Lix and Sissia. They're like two of my favorite champions added. I think last year. I don't know. I'm losing track.
Yeah,
But
both really cool. I
yeah.
don't have either of them actually, and
Ooh.
yeah, Sakia I was like massively after.
Oh,
I went
love
all
her.
in at the weekend, but I failed
Got you.
unfortunately. Yeah.
Got you. Yeah. So there we go. Not too
Okay,
bad.
undeads, man. Your pick.
But hey, I just picked an Ithwi.
Oh, shit. Sorry, yeah.
I can go again.
No, my pick. Hold on. Give me a second. Who would I go for here? I think.
Oh man, I know.
I think I would go for Little Miss Annie.
Oh, okay.
But mainly because she's Void Legendary and she is probably my favorite looking champion in the game. Like I love the kind of creepy, twitchy kind of arms and face and stuff. And I think they knocked it out the park on the visual on this one. It's so good. And then she doesn't really have anywhere in the game to play. Like maybe Fire Knight, maybe. But certainly not in, for a Void Legendary, she is not in any endgame teams. She is pretty much set up to be an arena champion, but it's just all single target stuff doesn't really work in the arena unless you've got almost like a Rotor style passive where you don't die. I just give her a block revive, give her something else in her kit to make you want to pick her up and use her, because at the minute she looks freaking awesome. If I pulled her for the first time, I'd be like, wow. Yeah. But yeah, she's hard to keep alive. She's got some interesting passives already. I'm not going to say that they haven't kind of tried to think about a kit, but she just doesn't really have anywhere to play.
So I love Little Miss Annie, man. But I first of all, I love her. That said, I'm not saying she's a great legendary champion, right? You see her use very occasionally on like ally attack, some of like end game ally attack speed runs for Doom Tower. But in that play date ability, man, that A3, it can kill. Just personally, I don't have a single target nuker on my account that is as reliable with one-shotting people in the arena as the play day ability. However, one-shotting people in the arena, like, who gets out of bed for that? Give me Crew Traxa, at least you can turn after it, right? So I agree that she could probably use a buff. I do think she's like very cool kit. When revived, she gets revenge on who killed her with the A1. I like it, but yeah, I wouldn't complain with a buff on Little Miss Annie either.
So I guess you were probably thinking I was going to say Elegaeus, right?
Yeah, I was thinking to go Elegaeus, man.
He does need a buff. I'm definitely not going to discount that.
I mean, we could sit in here and talk forever about that champion, but it feels like he's one of those champions again that it feels like he should be a little bit better than he is when you read his kit. At least that's how I felt. But he just does not make any sense on any of my teams whatsoever.
Yeah, so obviously, like I figured you'd be on board with Elegaeus, and he's almost like nowhere in the game that he can play apart from, and this is the difference, I think. Like if you're struggling with Faction Wars 20, he can dive into Faction Wars 20 and like sort out those Valks, right? Or maybe it's 21, but anyway, someone to sort out those triple Valks that are really annoying. He does have a skill to do it. I just wish, like, they literally just released a rare that locks out the whole enemy team, like 50% chance to do it. This guy needs to just do it to anyone. Someone like Kaima, I'm knocking you all. No, sorry, Warlord, I'm knocking you all out. New champion, Yumeka, I'm knocking you all out. This dude's like, I'm trying to lock out you and your copies. Well, it's so rare that you come up against that. So
yeah. I totally agree. He's he just needs to be fixed a little bit.
He's definitely not a legendary champion for me. But,
no. He doesn't feel like it for me. He was a letdown. Yeah. All right.
Let's move on to the Dark Elves then, buddy.
Yeah, let's do it. So, Dark Elves are pretty stacked too, but I'm going to go with Queen Ava. Just being the best legendary or one of the best legendary campaign farmers doesn't do it for me. No. Again, she has almost 1,700.
Those days are gone.
Yeah,
we need more than that now.
I had to upgrade to Fellhound. That doesn't seem right, it's for my campaign farmer. And again, she's just a champion who, maybe a couple of years ago she was decent, but now I feel like, I don't even use her in Faction Wars anymore as a damage dealer. So maybe it's a damage buff, but really I think it's more than that. It's actually just bringing a little bit something to the table to where, she's even interesting compared to what is she doing right now,
Yeah, she's
other than
so
campaign
bland.
farming. Yeah,
She's so
she
bland
is.
right now.
And she looks so cool, you know?
Yeah.
So I would like to see, I'm not sure, what would you do to, you know, I feel like they can go in so many different directions, but
Yeah, it almost needs a bit like a Bashold or a Draco, like a proper rework, I think. You know,
yeah, like even
yeah.
making the A1 and AoE too. I don't know, you know?
Maybe
like that
maybe
would,
it goes,
you know?
maybe you've got kind of a block revive on the A2. I'd rather have a block revive on the AoE ability.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, or something like a passive, you know, if you kill someone, you get an extra turn, or you know, something.
Yeah, turn
something which
meter, who
just-
knows? But do
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But at the moment,
she's gonna
she's
be-
so far from where she needs to be as a legendary. Like you say, it's to
Yeah.
the point where it's like, let's just rethink her.
Yeah.
Because it's just not working. And literally, there's
that-
no one else in that faction.
Yeah, I was gonna
that's
say,
even
other than
close.
that, man,
Um,
like it used to be Astrolith, but now she's a lot better, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Astrolith has now got. They've kind of shoehorned a place for Astrolith to play with Stonestick coming in and stuff, and Bommel.
Yeah.
No, I think the rest of them. Ruel is actually. He's one of these champions again. He takes a bit of time to get going. When he gets going, he smacks people all over the place. But he's a bit slow to get into the action. But yeah, nowhere near the kind of Queen Eva type of buff required.
Yeah,
Okay,
beast damage dealer. Okay, Knight Rev. Is
Knight
it
Revs,
clear you?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think for Knight Revs, it's my pick, isn't it? Are we on my pick?
I'm losing track, man. It's not that hard to keep track, and every time I'm like, is it clear you?
I think it's my pick.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, for me, it's actually an easy one. Straight in
Okay.
with Narma. Narma the returns.
I agree with you. People hate me for hating on Narma. Let's see if they hate you
man.
for it too.
She's literally like everything about a kit says clan boss, clan boss, clan boss,
Yeah.
but it's not good enough. It's just the kit is just not. And it's almost like you need a turn reduction on her A3 to really get the. You know, is she a poison champion? Well, she doesn't do enough poisons with just the A3.
Yes.
So maybe you either need a turn reduction there, or you need a chance to lay a poison and what she does on her A1. Or you need a Vizier style A1 where she's actually increasing all debuffs. Because at the moment, her decrease attack is not consistent enough to be the decrease attack champion. So it's actually only a really small tweak I think she needs to be actually a great legendary champion for Clan Boss. But at the moment, you'd rather throw in a Fane or, you know, other epic champions that can kind of do the job more consistently whilst kicking out better damage. And again, she looks so cool. You know, they've done all of that stuff. They do such a good job every single time. Almost like a Hellraiser type look to her. But yeah, I just feel like she doesn't really have a place to play if it's not Clan Boss. And Clan Boss, she doesn't do it well enough.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's nice to have it's nice that the decreased attack lands for 3 turns on a 3-turn cooldown. It's nice that the poison sensitivity are the same thing, 3 turns on a 4-turn. I would love to see that A3 change to a 5-turn base, you know, but down to 3. Either that, or to your point about like Vizier, maybe she attacks 2 or 3 times on the A1 and each hit has a chance of extending 1. You know, like just, I don't know the proper ratio that you need, but it needs to be a little bit more enticing, I feel like, than a one hit.
Or it's a 100% chance on a one hitter.
On a one hit,
It's only extending 3 of the debuffs and random at that. You know? It's, But yeah. She just needs a tweak. She's close.
Yep. She is
close to good.
She is close. She is close. I'd be curious though if anybody uses her as like a main, you know, damaged decreased attack champion on Clan Boss. She can certainly be used in that role, but you know, to your point, I feel like there's so many kind of better options out there, but you have to have them. You know,
the trouble you've got is potential affinity is one thing, but also the 3% chance to just not land a debuff. So if you don't land that decreased attack, then you're probably wiping your team. Yeah, it's just and for that reason, it you know, it has to be more consistent. But yeah,
totally agree with you. Totally agree. All right, we get to the impossible faction. Nah, not really. I mean, thankfully, I'm not super familiar. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I'm not super familiar with Beauregard, other than just reading his kit a couple times. But he seems like he should be an all right champion with increased resist and speed. So I will go with Samar Gemmed Cursed, man. Like just being a semi niche, kinda, sorta able to solo easier levels of Bommel isn't enough to get me excited. So, you know, besides annoying me, I don't know if it's Doom Tower, Faction Wars, wherever he is, he's annoying to deal with in that content. But besides that, man, like I just don't. I feel like he needs a little bit more damage again.
That's it.
You know,
multiplier. Just give him a multiplier increase, and then this guy's actually probably pretty cool.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Everybody else is a beast in dwarves. So
yeah. Yeah, I would have picked the same guy. When you were saying
Well,
Borodar, I was thinking, actually, I feel like Borodar's pretty cool. Like,
yeah.
It's
No,
pretty different. But
I just had to remind myself what he did. But yeah, he's pretty cool. I guess my second choice would probably be Mountain King. No hate, but you know, he's a pretty simplistic champion.
yeah,
You know.
yeah, there could be a bit more to what he gets on with. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
I agree, man. Samar for me is absolutely the sort of standout one there. Okay, on to the last faction. And so the Shadow
This
Team.
is it.
All of the newbies, all of the guys which are fresh into the game. So they've all got all the cool kit already, right?
Right, yeah. Well, for the most part, these are some of the best legendaries. Some of them, you know, and some of them not so much.
I mean, I feel like they have just missed the mark with Noble.
Okay.
It's just, what is he doing? Like, where is he?
I'll tell you what he's doing, man. He's empowering Ninja. That's what he's doing. For.
Yeah.
That's what he's there for, man.
Imagine if you weren't around when Ninja came out and you get a Noble. It's like, what can I do with this guy? And everyone's like, just put him into Ninja and make him stronger. And you're like, I don't have Ninja.
Oh, dude. I feel every time that, you know, I make a video that I just slot Ninja in, I'm like, yeah, it's a free-to-play team, guys, or whatever. I feel in the back of my mind, I'm like, I can't say that too much longer because more and more players are downloading every day, you know?
Yeah,
and they don't have Ninja and they never will. That kind of really sucks. I'm sorry, guys, who are watching this who don't have Ninja.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway,
this guy, all he's really got is mechanics around True Fear. If True Fear's out there, he gets stronger, which is cool. But he just needs to be placing some more stuff himself. He needs to be in the mix with either crazy damage or a much stronger kit. He's not even like close to what he needs to be right now. He needs some debuffs on his kit. He needs either some turn meter decrease stuff going on. He needs a lot more. And at the minute, he's kind of looking funky, and that is all he's got going on.
Yeah, like to fix a Noble, it shouldn't be that difficult. First of all, 92 speed is really pathetic. Even though he has a lot of turn meter fill.
Such a common speed.
Come on, man. Come on. Like, why put a legendary in there, Plarium, if you know you're just gonna have to buff the speed in like a year, you know? But you know, I kind of like that he has. I don't hate that he has to have the synergy with Fear or True Fear. He just needs to be a lot better if you're gonna make a champion so dependent on having to have those debuffs all up all the time. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I agree with you.
It just feels like he needs an absolute rework for me. It's just,
yeah. I only
even
get
when
excited.
He's ignoring defense. It's like, well, it's a single target hit. And it doesn't hit hard enough. Basically, it's just weak.
Totally agree. I guess my honorable mention would be Jingwan. I don't think he's as trash as maybe some people do.
Oh, I hate it. Go on.
But So, but he's not good. You know, he has that power flare ability. That there's no reason that shouldn't be on a 3-turn cooldown when booked. So I guess just starting there, just make that a 3-turn cooldown. He's not that powerful. He's not that broke of a kit. But I guess that's all I kind of have to say about him. I just kind of underwhelming, but very cool shield hand thing going on.
Yeah. I just feel like his A3, it puts out decreased crit damage, terrible debuff. It doesn't hit very hard. Like, give this, again, avoid legendary we're talking about here.
Yep.
I think he would be
Put strengthen on all allies. Put strengthen on all. Why only him? Come on, man. Just avoid legendary,
like, so selfish.
Yeah, right? Come on. That's not cool. Give all allies increased accuracy and strengthen, and now we're at least talking a little bit, on that A3. But
100%.
Anyway, well, there we go.
Well, guys, look, what do you think? Do you agree with us? Are there other champions that you think we should have called out? Ash, thank you so much for coming on and doing the video. It's good to have you on. It's always a blast. And guys, I'm going to pin a comment below with Ash's channel, all of his details, but also a collab we're doing on his channel. So make sure you don't check that out after you watch this one. I've been Hell Hades. I'll see you later.